And I think it's just like you get older and your pride lessens or something, or it gets bigger if you're a narcissist. But it should, I think, just get
as a rule, it should lessen.
As you get older, you should mature into like being like, yeah, maybe I did handle that really badly, and I'm
not taking
so
it,
sorry.
Yeah, not taking it as a character judgment on yourself.
No, just be humble enough in the situation. Be like, yeah, it doesn't matter what the intention was or what I said, what I meant to say. Like, just be like, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. I want to see you thrive, and therefore, I'm going to figure out how to never do that again.
Yeah. Okay, but that speaks to like a very different thing than most people, regardless of what they do in life and where they sit, don't have like a real understanding of, I don't think. I would wonder, not even understanding, but a lack of fear in being exactly where you are, trying to, because I love what you said about like, yeah, I know my tone, but also I know my intent. And so it's like you can communicate and be like, okay, I missed it there. But because the weight of you missing it doesn't make you bad or make you wrong, it just makes the moment different than maybe it could have been. You can address the moment and you can address your actions in it, but know that your intent was clear so that everything else that came with it, it gives you a shorter work to health.
Yeah.
If the intent is there, like you're saying.
I'm going to give a really strange analogy that I've been working on for a while.
Oh, I love this.
Okay.
Thing. Great.
Sort of like when your friend or your partner or brother or sister is planning your birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you're like, hey, what if we changed it to this thing? Are you making it? And then they're mad at you for jumping in.
Yeah.
And I have at times been like, if your intention is to love me, to show me love by planning my birthday party, if I'm throwing adjustments at you in real time,
that's all part of the love.
Shouldn't it be included, wrapped up?
Is that the love package?
Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's like your intention is to show me love, but when I tell you you could do it like this and I would actually feel it.
Mm.
And you get mad or you don't receive that because you had your plan on how to love me. It's like, don't throw the birthday party.
Yeah, because you're revealing what it's really about.
Yeah, and I think that is so often the case. It's like, if your person, whoever it is, that might be, worth listening to.
It is.
Is like, hey, can I just help you love me better? Because
yes.
I'm me.
Yes.
I know what's happening in here
Give the
better
people permission
than you can.
Yes.
And your reaction is that you feel like you knew, or why are you telling me? It's anything but yes and, then you got to reset. It's so interesting how that has overlapped in so many of my relationships with my family members and band members.
Yeah, sure.
Kevin and Joe. Like, I think we've got to a point after the breakup where it was no longer about work and all that other stuff. So we were actually able to say, you know what? When you speak to me like this, or here's an insecurity I have that this thing you
touches
do perpetuates.
Yeah.
If you really love me, can you just meet me where I'm at?
Yep.
And it's not selfish.
No, it's not.
To tell people that the expectation is truly to love me. Then here's how I can help you do that.
Well, if you were to say, hey, we're in friendship, and every time you say my name this way, it makes me feel this way. And I'm like, well, that's just how I say your name. Come on, that's just how I say your name. Well, we're friends. That's just how I say your name. It's like, right. But so there are two people a part of a friendship. What you're giving is not necessarily how it's being received. So then if I'm going to be open and vulnerable enough, because what you do in saying, hey, you can meet me in this way, is you're being vulnerable enough to like serve up a win. You're like, hey, I'm telling you, you can knock it out of the ballpark with me right here. And then if someone else is like, oh, I see the win there, but I see my idea here, and that's kind of more valuable to me, then you're like, well, then don't do anything, because you're revealing that it's not about the thing you've said it is.
Totally.
And I think that there's such a vulnerability in being able to offer that up, and for someone to even come back to that and go like, well, I had been thinking this, but now that you're saying this, I'm hearing that, of course, whatever you want. Then you're able to come back and go, oh, well, you were planning this thing. Let's meet in the middle. And it doesn't have any of the vitriol or the weight behind it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. That goes into love languages and into how we all receive and give different love. You know, if I'm like a words of affirmation person and a quality time and I never see you or hear from you, but you give the best gifts, or, you know, you're really great at doing things for me. It's like, well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I don't ever want to negate you giving any bit of yourself to me. However, it misses me a little bit because these are the areas in which I really feel loved. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to do that? If I knew where I could meet you, why wouldn't I want to? But I think that goes back to a security thing of just also being solid and set enough in who you are to go like, well, this is actually what I want. This is actually what I need. And I actually want to meet you where you want and in the ways that you need. Because you're not asking for something you're not already modeling too.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, let's hop into this kind of thing. So I think that we talk a lot about chosen family, and we both love our families of birth, have also both been really intentional to kind of create a family unit that is larger than that and kind of more expansive. And I say that being like, I feel like we share one and then also have our own kind of things. But when you look at through lines of the qualities, you're like, this gets to go with me. And I'm not talking about a type of person, but qualities that you look at and you're like, okay, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I want to see these qualities as I look around the room. And it's not specific to a personality. It's like, I love that I heard 4 different people ask each other about a thing they already knew was going on in their life. Like they followed up on a thing or whatever in that vein.
My litmus test is usually if my car broke down on the side of the road, 3 a.m, who would show up? And, you know, it's pretty basic, but it's just in times of need, how do the people that you're choosing to do life with react? And, you know, I know what my answer is to that is that I will show up for anybody at any point in time. Yeah. Drop everything. I'm there. That I have decided to do life with. Yeah. And that goes for their families and et cetera. So I think it's just, I expect the same as kind of like what I'm giving and promising to do in those situations. The other thing is I love people that are, you know, that are okay to be, this is a strange way to put it, but like okay to be embarrassed, you know, and like genuinely like can laugh at themselves. Yeah. When I say embarrassed, I don't mean like actually embarrassed. Like they laugh at themselves, I guess. Is
like, oh, I just said that.
Yeah, like, wow. Oh my God. I think that's a great quality in people in general. It's like, you got to be able to laugh at yourself, laugh at a situation. If you take yourself too seriously, or if you don't understand that it's a joke, like, I just feel like, you know, who is so serious a person that they can't acknowledge,
I just tripped
or whatever. Yeah. And it's potentially something that I like admire in others that I've worked hard to try to adopt. But it took me a long time to be able to laugh at myself in situations. So like I would envy it in others. And, you know, Joe is one of my closest friends in the world, my brother. Love him to death and admire that about him. Is that it's rare and honestly surprising when there's a situation where he's genuinely embarrassed by something. Or
I was about to say, because you don't ever feel like Joe is being held by a moment. Like if he's tripped or if he's forgotten a lyric or whatever, it's like it does not affect.
It's so encouraging to be around people like that.
It's true.
And I'm not talking about self-deprecating stuff. I'm just like, you know, if you walk into a door,
can we talk about it?
It's funny.
Can we talk about it?
And it's not like, haha, you're an idiot. It's like, ha, we love you. That's like, and your reaction
to
it
happen.
I don't know. I think that's a really like lovely quality in people. And obviously my wife embodies that in spades. You know, it doesn't take herself seriously at all. And we're seeing it now kind of manifest in our daughter in a way that is like just brilliant. Her sense of humor and her like ability to sort of like laugh at situations and even her mischievous like attitude.
She's always laughing.
Always laughing. It's great. And I think that she will be, and it's something that I admired in my grandfather. Like, there's a theme in all the people that I really love and admire.